To begin with, I want to share one poem called Thine We Are by John Friend. So let us read it together. Ready, go. Thine are we, what joy, what comfort, this assurance brings the hearts. Thine by purchase and redemption, nevermore from thee to part, by the Father's grace and pardon, by the precious blood outpoured, by the power that protects us. We thus pleased to act this word, thine by our own full surrender, thine first service glad and free, for thy love our love has kindled, and our souls are knit to thee. On thy side, what peace, what safety, thou art conqueror and king. We shall follow thee in train, and thy victory shall sing. Undismayed, undefeated, Prince of Peace, O lead us on to thy kingdom and the glory. When the final strife is won, sure defense in camp and conflict, great commander lead and guide. Thine are we, what joy, what comfort, oh what safety on thy side. Likewise she gave thanks to God who was with her life. God was always by her side in her circumstance. Yes, God has been faithful to her journey. So when I read her poem, it reminds me of our Christian life. Yes, God has been faithful and good to us in our lives, especially for this 2024. Especially, we will celebrate Thanksgiving next Sunday. So we will celebrate Thanksgiving worship service with potluck event. So please invite your friend. Yes, recently we are celebrating Thanksgiving season. Yes, there are many reasons to be thankful to God. Especially, the most thankful reason is that God is with us. The most thankful reason is that God is with us. Do you agree? Yes. Especially today, we can find God who was with Jacob. Therefore, let us meditate on God through the passage. So let us read Genesis chapter 28 and verse 15 one more time. Ready, go. Behold, I am with you and will keep you wherever you go, and will bring you back to this land. But I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised you. To begin with, let us find out the background of the passage today. Especially today, it is a conversation between God and Jacob. In other words, God spoke to Jacob in order to encourage him in his circumstance. Therefore, let us remember Jacob first. Who is Jacob? Yes, Jacob was the son of Isaac, especially he stole the birthright from his brother Esau. Therefore, Esau, he was angry and tried to accuse Jacob. Therefore, Jacob, he decided to run away from Canaan, his hometown, to be saved. In other words, Jacob left his journey in order to keep safe himself. Especially today, Jacob, he arrived at one specific place in Haran. As you see the map here, Jacob was here, but he ran away to the Haran. So Jacob ran from his home Canaan to Haran. For example, let us read Genesis chapter 28 and verse 11. Ready, go. And he came to a certain place and stayed there that night, because the sun had set. Taking one of the stones of the place, he put it under his head and lay down in that place to sleep. Likewise, Jacob, he stayed at Haran for a night, and he had a dream. He had a vision there. Especially there was an angel in his dream, in his vision, and then the angel said God's promise to Jacob. For example, let us read Genesis chapter 28 and verse 14. Ready, go. Your offspring shall be like the dust of the earth, and you shall spread abroad to the west and to the east and to the north and to the south. And you and your offspring shall all the families of the earth be blessed. Yes, God promised to prosper Jacob's life. In other words, God blessed Jacob through the angel. No matter how Jacob was fearful or worried about his circumstance, God was still with Jacob. So do you understand the background? Yes, Jacob, he received God's promise through the angel in his vision. However, Jacob, he was still in the fear since he did not know where he would go, or he did not know where his brother would find him. Nevertheless, God was still with Jacob. Especially, God promised to protect and be with Jacob once again through the passage today. So let us read verse 15 one more time together. Ready, go. Behold, I am with you and will keep you wherever you go, and will bring you back to this land, for I will not leave you until I have done what I promised you. To begin with, when God told behold, it refers to drawing special attention. Drawing special attention. In other words, God wanted Jacob to pay attention to his promise. Therefore, it might translate like this: know that, remember, and listen. Likewise, God wanted Jacob to pay attention to his promise once again. Especially this promise includes personal protection and guidance for Jacob's journey. In other words, God guaranteed the security of Jacob's journey through the promise. So what is the promise of God? What is the promise of God? First of all, it said that I am with you and will keep you wherever you go. Can you read it together? Ready, go. I am with you and keep you. Yes, God promised Jacob to be with him. To be with him. When he mentioned the phrase, I am with you, it refers to a promise of divine protection and blessing. Especially, God was assured that his presence would dwell in Jacob's journey. Therefore, it is God's protective presence for Jacob. Especially this promise records God's promise to Jacob's father Isaac. For example, let us read book of Genesis chapter 26 and verse 3. Ready, go. Sojourn in this land, I will be with you and will bless you. For to you and to your offspring I will give all these lands, and I will establish the oath that I swore to Abraham, your father. Likewise, God promised to be with Isaac on his sojourning journey. In other words, God also promised to be with Isaac through his presence. His presence helped Isaac keep safe on his sojourning journey. In the same way, God also promised to Jacob to be with him as he did to his father Isaac. Also, God promised to keep Jacob on his journey. In other words, God decided to guard and watch and protect Jacob in his journey. No matter how his brother Esau tried to accuse Jacob, God wanted to keep Jacob on his journey. He said that I am with you and will keep you wherever you go. Furthermore, God promised to Jacob by using his plan once again. He said that, and will bring you back to this land. Can you do it together? Ready, go? And will bring you back to this land. Likewise, God promised Jacob to be back in his home of Canaan. Of course, Jacob was at Haran, but God promised to bring Jacob back to Canaan according to God's plan. Especially Canaan was where Jacob began his journey. Therefore, God wanted Jacob to trust in God's plan for him. Also, God continued to encourage Jacob once again. He said that, for I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised you. Can you do it together? Ready, go? For I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised you. Yes, God promised Jacob to be with him once again. Especially the word leave, it used in context pertaining to covenant loyalty. For example, let us read the book of Joshua chapter 1 and verse 5. Ready, go. No man shall be able to stand before you all the days of your life. Just as I was with Moses, I will be with you. I will not leave you or forsake you. At that time, God also promised to Joshua not leave his people. Likewise, God promised to give victory and hope to people who are struggling in their circumstance. Therefore, it is same God who also promised Jacob not to leave him. In other words, Yahweh, God will still fulfill his promise to Jacob on his journey. To be specific, as I mentioned earlier, God already gave his promise, his blessing before through his vision. Therefore, God was assured that he will fulfill his promise to Jacob. That's why God will never leave Jacob on his journey. Yes, God wanted to keep his promise to Jacob. That's why God did not want to leave him until his promise made it. So today, we meditate on God who encouraged Jacob. Especially, God encouraged Jacob with his promise. With his promise. However, this story did not end yet, since it teaches us to live as Christians once again. God is with us. Can you say together? God is with us. One more time. God is with us. As God with Jacob, God is with us in our lives. No matter how Jacob ran away from Canaan or did not know where he would go, God was still watching over Jacob's journey. In the same way, God is with us in our lives. No matter how we are lost or struggling with our troubles right now, God is still with us on our journey. Especially, we can find one of God's attributes in the passage today. So can you say together? God is omnipotent. Can you say together? God is omnipotent. Can you say together? God is omnipotent. One more time. God is omnipotent. Yes, God is always with us in all places at all times. One more time. God is always with us in all places at all times. That's why God promised Jacob in order to be with him through his presence. Through his presence. In the same way, God is with us through his presence in our lives. For example, I want to share my story once again. As you already know, I had a car accident last 2009 in New York As you can see in the picture, I was there inside the car. Even though I lost my consciousness and fell down inside the car, God was there with me through His presence. Of course, it already passed more than 10 years, but I still remember God who was with me through His presence to save my life from death. His presence was in the midst of my suffering. The reason why I share my story once again, because God is still with us through His presence. Yes, God is omnipresent. God is omnipresent. No matter how you are struggling with your troubles right now, God is still with you. However, when we encounter our troubles, we only focus on our troubles or we complain to God. Also, Jacob, he might also have worry about his circumstance on his journey, since he did not know where he would go. So I have one question for everyone. Have you ever asked this question to yourself? God, where are you? God, where are you? Have you asked this question for yourself? We might ask this question to ourselves in our troubles. Also, we might think that God did not take care of us in our troubles. However, God is still with us. For example, Brother Lawrence, he mentioned God. He said that He sometimes hides Himself from us, but faith alone, which will not fail us in time of need, ought to be our support and the foundation of our confidence, which must be in God. Likewise, God never fails us. God never fails us. Especially His presence always dwells in our lives. Therefore, no matter how lost we are right now, we need to hold on to God once again. Especially, Jesus also came to this world to be with us. For example, let us read Matthew chapter 1 and verse 23. Ready, go. Behold, the virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and they shall call his name Emmanuel, which means God with us. Yes, Jesus came into this world in order to be with us. Emmanuel, God with us. That's why Jesus always had compassion for His people who are lost and in need. However, there was more of it. Especially Jesus also decided to be with us through His presence until the last. For example, let us read Matthew chapter 28 and verse 20. Ready, go. Teaching them, observe all that I command you, and be your eye and measure always to the end of the age. Likewise, Jesus promised to be with His people through His presence. Even though Jesus had to ascend to heaven, His presence was still dwelling with His people. Also, Jesus is still with us through His presence in our lives. Furthermore, we should trust in God's promise. As God promised to bring Jacob back to Canaan according to God's plan, God also promised us to fulfill His plan for us. For example, Geoffrey Kilgore, he mentioned the promise. He said that God's promises are just like that. Perfect, pure, dependable, the very best you could hope for. Likewise, he encouraged believers to trust in His promise because God will make it happen. Therefore, we should continue to trust our God who is a promise keeper. For example, I want to share my story once again. As I already shared with you, I did not know who will come here at Ordinary Church and Ordinary Cafe since I moved here last year. However, God sent His people to our church here at Ordinary Cafe. Especially last Sunday, Shina, she came to our church. Yes, God fulfilled His promise to me. So I want to share our vision statement once again. Can we do it together? Ready, go? God does extraordinary work through ordinary people of God. Yes, God even used me to open this church and this cafe. And God will continue to use you to fulfill His promise. Not only the church, but I am sure that God will continue to fulfill His promise to you. Therefore, let us continue to trust God, who is our promise keeper. Furthermore, we should also take action in our circumstance. For example, let us read Genesis chapter 29 and verse 1. Ready, go. Then Jacob went on his journey and came to the land of the people of the east. Yes, after Jacob received God's promise, he decided to continue to live on his journey. He said that then Jacob went on his journey. Of course, there was no specific direction and there was no guarantee for safety. Nevertheless, Jacob, he walked by faith on his journey. In the same way, we should continue to walk by faith in our circumstance. Can you say together? Walk by faith. Yes, we should continue to trust our God who is with us and continue to walk by faith. Especially, we can also find one person who walked by faith in the New Testament. For example, let us read, go 2 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 7. Ready, go. For we walk by faith, not by sight. Likewise, the Apostle Paul, he walked by faith first in his suffering. Therefore, he encouraged believers to walk by faith and trust God in their circumstance. In the same way, Jacob also walked by faith in his circumstance. Therefore, we should continue to walk by faith in our troubles. Let us not just wait or worry about our troubles, but let us continue to walk by faith in our troubles. When we continue to walk by faith, God will continue to do well on our journey. God is with us. God is with us through His presence. God is a promise keeper. Walk by faith in every season of life. Can you read that together? Ready, go? God is with us. God is with us through His presence. God is a promise keeper. Walk by faith in every season of life. Amen.